we've been listening to the new album, well, sneak peek, and hilarious, amazing.
Thank you.
I love it, which historically I don't ever listen to like children's music, right?
Same.
I think that most people are in that same boat.
Awful.
It's so like, and I don't know if it's because I have a reason to be listening to it, but, because we were going to be talking to you guys, but it is pleasant. It's intoxicating. It's hilarious. It's wacky and absurd.
Thank you.
in the best way. Yes.
No, when Jim and I started Go Banana Go, that was essentially our philosophy. We're like, let's do this, but good. Right. And that's not to say there's not lots of great music for families out there. There is plenty of it. It's just, most of the stuff we were hearing was like, not feeling it.
Yeah. Well, and even before we even decided to do it and make it a real thing, we were just doing it like independently to make our kids laugh.
Yeah.
And just like really stupid songs while we're making breakfast. And, and my wife just kept going like, dude, you've got to record these. They're so good. And then Brian and I talked and we're like, let's try it. And then, and then here we are now.
Just kind of off to the races basically immediately.
Yeah. And it's been a wild, like way beyond the success for what it is that Brian and I could have ever expected.
Oh, yeah. Like, you start a new thing. You just have no idea if anyone's going to care about it or listen to it. And also when you're trying to, become a part of a new community, like the family music, kind of scene, all of whom we just insulted, it's challenging to break in. And it like right out of the gate, I think we with the first album, Haya, which came out in late March or early April 2020, due to COVID, we had kind of an immediate hook to it, which was like, here's a new album your kids can listen to while, you're trying to figure out something to do while you're stuck in the house. And it was just kind of like, it was weirdly good timing for that album and terrible timing for the entire world. But when we put it out, I had the whole COVID thing planned, of course, and luckily, we were able to get those deadlines to kind of line up.
So you're saying you created COVID, right? That's the.
I mean, I don't
I had COVID all planned out.
Yeah,
it's a group effort.
It's called record promotion, guys.
Yeah, very worth.
It turns out. Look, I mean, I thought it would be a simple marketing stunt. Definitely kind of spiraled out of control.
Shit got out of hand.
Yeah, look, but ultimately, we're doing well on Spotify, so I have to say it was probably worth it.
Overall boon. Yes.
Yeah. You got to break some eggs to make an omelet,
Big breakfast theme too in the album, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. You don't go into a new album expecting to write so many songs about breakfast, but
we honestly, you guys, when we made this record and we went down to a studio called Sonic Ranch in Texas that Brian and I both worked at for years. It's like my favorite place to record in the world. I've been working there for almost 20 years. And it's a ranch, 3,000 acres, actually 6,000 acres now.
Huge.
We could talk about the ranch. The synopsis, the short version is that it's like on the border of Mexico, right by Juarez. And we brought Flula because he'd never been, and we'd been talking about taking him. And we had no songs. We just were like, we're going to go down there.
See what happens.
For a week, see what happens.
It was 5 full days of recording, right? We got out on a Sunday and we had Monday through Friday and then left on a Saturday, I think, right?
Yeah, it's about right. Yeah, we just wrote whatever came up and apparently breakfast was on our minds. So
they must have amazing breakfast at this ranch.
Honestly,
they actually do.
They really do. Legit, they do. Yeah.
So is there so we were looking at, we did a deep dive on Sonic Ranch. And so is it like you get catering and stuff if you is it all inclusive with that? Yeah.
So they have a kitchen so it's a residential recording studio, which means that you live there, you sleep there, and there's a kitchen which serves all 3 meals, and breakfast specifically. You go in and they have a little menu of Tex-Mex type stuff, really good burritos. They have this house-made salsa, which is literally, it's the best salsa I've ever had. It's a red salsa, nice and spicy. It's the best. And you order your breakfast burrito or your huevos rancheros or whatever it is, and you enjoy it. And then they have lunch, which is kind of the same thing for everybody. And they just give you a plate And then dinner is, they actually make the dinner, leave it out for you to have kind of whenever, because people's hours are nuts. Some people are starting at 1 p.m. and going till 4 a.m. or whatever. We're family guys and have a pretty standard, wake up at 7 a.m. sort of like we're not going too crazy. Yeah.
Or you have a bedtime or you regret it.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. We're kind of working office hours, though. Brian and I, we're on dad hours.
Yeah.
At the ranch. The old days I used to, I have a buddy knocking on my door. Be very late, but we get up at like 8, 7:30, maybe get a little workout in, get some breakfast and stuff. But you just never know, too, who you're going to run into there.
That's right. Because it's
kind of fun.
They've got like 6 or 7 different studios on the premises, and sometimes there's huge acts, like big, internationally famous acts like us coming through, and or they're, sometimes you just have a couple guys who are starting out and wanted to go record an album, and they're very friendly to up and coming artists, and we'll cut a deal for people who don't have label money and that sort of, like, it's a great environment.
Yeah.
We were wondering about that. It seemed like from what we could tell, like from the website and what we were looking up, that it was like, oh, this place is for, hey, you guys need to put out a new album. This is, commands coming from the record label, and you have nothing. You need some inspiration. We're going to send you here. You're going to spend whatever, a week, and make good music. Go.
Yeah.
Is that frequent?
It's forever. Yeah, definitely people do that. That's honestly, when we've had most of our trips there, we've gone in and say, we're going to write and record an album during this thing. And we kind of block it out. We arrange time away from our families and say, okay, this is our chance to write and record. But I'm sure plenty of people are coming in with stuff written and they're just using it to record. One of the studios, actually a couple of them, you could fit a full orchestra in. They have these huge live
massive
rooms. Yeah. And others are like little tiny spaces, which are just enough for like a 4-piece band, and that's it. So they really run the gamut.
Also point out, too, the kitchen where you eat, all the bands come in there. That's where you eat. It's also the owner of the ranch's kitchen. So
it's his house.
And he loves it. He lives and breathes for this. So he will eat dinner with you and be like, hey, would you guys like a nice bottle of wine? And I've become Brian and I both have become very close with Tony over the years. And he's just the most gracious guy. And you'll be in the kitchen with a plate with like Sublime, and then like Tony walks in his running clothes and is like, oh, hey guys, you guys want to go to dinner with me at the steakhouse downtown tonight? And whoever wants to go can like hop in. Like, it's so cool.
He's very generous and kind to everybody that comes through there. And he grew up there too. That's like his childhood home. It was his family's ranch and house. And he, basically just built this place kind of from it's decided, hey, I love music. I want to have a world-class recording studio, and built it.
I don't like leaving my house.
Yeah,
right.
Basically.
And it's very cool too. Another cool thing they do is a lot of their engineers and staff are Mexican people. And so it's kind of this feeder for recording in Mexico. So a lot of Mexican people will come and work there for a while when they're young, and then go back to Mexico with all the experience that they've gained. So it's this very cool like pipeline for up and coming, engineers, producers, that sort of musicians from Mexico. I think a lot of them are based in Mexico City, but they come up, spend a few years at the ranch, and then a lot of them move home.
So we had an individual on. His name is Adam Wecht, and he works out of Abbey Road Studios.
Mm-hmm.
And it also there seems very hospitable and like friendly. Are all studios like that, or is this like a one-off type deal, or is this like, I've never recorded in a professional studio like that before, but that sounds awesome.
Yeah, those are the more rare places. There's not. I think to hear that Abbey Road's like that's actually really surprising, and that's awesome, because a lot of the times the bigger, more established, kind of iconic places to record kind of treat it like it's very clinical, and it's like you sign in, here's your hours, the engineer leaves in 8 hours. That's how a lot of the big LA studios are.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. You just kind of know what you're doing. But places like the ranch, you feel like you're at a home. You're at someone's home.
You have 24-hour access while you have that room. So you can just walk in, like literally anytime if you tell them, hey, we're going to start at 3 a.m., they'll staff it at 3 a.m.
Yep.
It's kind of nuts, actually.
Or if Brian and I we'll be at the house next door, be like, hey, I have an idea, which has never happened, but I could be like, let's go in there. It's 2 in the morning. Everything's on, everything's set up, ready to go at all times. And all the engineers they're all going to die young, but man, they'll go whatever hours you want. Like they'll do whatever you want, and they don't complain. They'll stick around for 14 hours if you need them to.
Sounds like my gym membership. It's open 24 hours a day, but I just don't go. Actually, like ever.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's an amazing environment. What I would often do at night is go back. Most studios have, you have where the engineer is, kind of the console and everything, and then there are separate rooms, the live room and different ISO booths and stuff like that. And so what I would often do at night is just go back by myself while Jim and Flula were hanging out at the little house we were staying at. And I would just listen to my favorite albums on the big speakers. Get the greatest speakers you've ever heard, these massive thing, incredible quality. And I just put on my favorite albums and be like, what do these sound like on the best speakers in the world? And
you don't get to hear CNC cool Music Factory like that every day, do you?
No, and you really, the subtleties, they really pop out when you're listening on big speakers. You can really hear the drums. They're not normally there. Yeah.
I was even going through the equipment list, and there's it seems like everything is there.
Crazy. Everything is there.
Do you have to even bring anything? Unless this is my favorite guitar. Do you have to bring anything with you when you?
Not a thing.
I mean, if you're a horn player or whatever, you'll bring a horn. But no, if you just want to go there and say, hey, we're going to use the guitars and the basses and that stuff. That's it.
Yeah, I think there's 136 when I say guitars, they're not just average guitars. They're all just handpicked by Tony. He's a guitar collector. 1950s Les Pauls. There's 9 of them.
Yep. Greg was going through the list, and I think I heard him shudder, and then he had to go change his pants.
I did. My pants shrunk.
Yeah. It's incredible.
He was.
Every amp you could ever want, is all there. And the other thing is, if you really need something and you don't have it right there, they'll find a way of getting it.
That's very cool.
Yeah, wow. I had the very first time I went there was 2007. That's when I started working there. I was in a band on EMI, and we spent a month there working on a record. And Tony asked, I'd never met him. He said, "Is there anything you have in your rig that isn't here?" And I was like, "Well, I used to play Bad Cat amplifiers. That's what I toured with." And he's like, "Oh, never heard of it." I'm like, "Don't worry about it. I'll just use whatever." And I get down there, and he had bought an entire Bad Cat, half stack and head, the exact head that I used. And he's like, "I figured I'll have it here anyway. Other people will use it." And I'm just like, this is crazy,
Yeah. But speaking of that, Jim, can you describe your stack count at the AC/DC show last night?
You guys, I saw AC/DC last night in Nashville. 41 Marshall stacks on stage.
How many of those are actually are most of those just for show, or
100%? Right? He's using one.
Yeah, right. But he's got 40 backups in case one shits
it's the most Spinal Tap thing I've ever seen, and I was there for it. It was awesome.
It's so funny.
Yeah. So, so we showed up with Flula, and we're like, all right, well, I guess we just write an album, and we just started. I mean, Flula's brain is truly from another planet.
Yeah. Incredible improviser. Yeah.
Unbelievable. So between the three of us, we'd just knock an idea, and then we'd just try to find the game, right? We'd just try to find what's the path here. Yeah. And sometimes it's a dud. But what's nice about
not my ideas, but
no, Brian's are always hits.
It's called talent.
Yeah.
We can't all have that.
Yeah. But we would just pull a thread and see where it goes. And sometimes it would be I don't feel it. And then somebody would be like, what if it was about this instead? And then all of a sudden, it all just coalesces. And what's nice about the limited time is you can only paint with so many colors. And so you just kind of go, great, let's run with it. Let's not think about it. And I think a lot of the times that's just the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Because if you overthink it, you're never going to get what you can get when you just make quick decisions and trust your gut. And that's what we had to do.
And what's really great about the three of us and Jim and Flula is there's no ego. It's just okay, let's try something else. It doesn't matter if it was, whose idea it was. We'll just say, yeah, not feeling it. Let's try something else. And everyone's just cool, let's move on. And we just want to create the best, funniest thing. We think about this band as a comedy band for kids. And we just want to be funny and write good music. And if it's not working, there's a million more ideas waiting to happen. So we'll just move on to the next thing and see if we can top it.
That's a great way to put it. A comedy band for kids. It just seems, I would imagine that the songwriting process would have been something like, that's not working. Turn the absurdity, the silly knob up a little bit more every time. It's just it had me laughing the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just awesome.
That is what it is. I mean, yeah, it's just like, because Flula, when Jim and I are just writing songs with the two of us, it's one level of absurdity. But when you put Flula Borg into the mix, who's such a big, larger than life, nutso kind of character, then literally anything can happen. And it's very fun. He's total agent of chaos type personality. You just never have any idea what's going to happen. It's the best. It's really fun.
Yeah. It's
we and it's funny, like obviously before I had kids, like we weren't listening to kids music, but as soon as I discovered Go Banana Go, we've been rocking it through the Alexa for my daughter, and she thinks it's fucking hilarious, and it is hilarious.
How old is she?
She is 5.
Nice. That's
perfect age.
Perfect age, and it's funny. My son's 2, so he doesn't. This is fun dance music, but she thinks it's hilarious.
That's great.
Yeah.
Our kids are still into it too.
Mine's not. I have a 13-year-old.
Oh, she's out. She's out.
Oh no, she's so out. Yeah.
My 11-year-old just turned 11 like 2 days ago. Is very into it, and she's constantly pitching. I mean, constantly pitching ideas. Usually for songs that have been out for a while. And most of her ideas are, what if, Daddy? What if I came in at the end and said, Brian Wecht is terrible? What if this song never happened? Stuff like that, where she just comes in, insults me, and then, nukes the song. It's all very funny.
Yeah.
Well, so actually the single Hot Cocoa was her and my wife's. Is that what you're about to say?
Well, okay. So I think Eric had Hot Cocoa stuck in his head for the last 2-3 days.
I don't mean to roll my eyes, but it is stuck. It's jammed in there.
So sorry about that.
You know what? It's happened with worse songs for sure. It's very catchy. It's good. It's fun. Yeah.
Thanks.
We were actually going to the Chinese buffet yesterday, and I think we were listening to what was it, Petting Zoo? I think was that
Yep, that's with my daughter, Audrey.
Yeah.
Do the kids' voices in the songs, because they're on a few tracks, I think.
A lot.
Are those your guys' kids or? Okay.
Yep. And sometimes Jim has a few neighborhood kids pop by to do if you need a gang vocals or something like that, they'll all do them. But yes, Audrey's on a lot of the songs. Jim's kids are on a bunch of the songs too. It's just fun. Jim has an actual pro studio in his house. I have kind of a mini, studio. But it's with a good mic that I can just bring my family in to do it. My wife, Rachel, is on a lot of songs as well. She's in the new album. She's the mom and getting ready for school. She does the chicken and eggs. She's very good at doing chicken vocals.
She's it's a gift.
Yeah. She's an incredibly gifted comedian, and
she is.
She's very, very good and an improviser and good at coming up
does
with
a
all
good chicken
stuff. So with that song I was like, okay, I texted her because I have a little studio separate from the house, but it's garage studio basically, and I was like, hey, come into the studio. She's like, okay. So she shows up and I'm like, stand there and you're a chicken, go.
She's like, ooh, I kind of like this.
Yeah. And
Ryan.
Essentially,
this is my new
essentially
thing.
one take, just, chickening it up. She's amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. My daughter is on the new one with Flula about the, can't think of the name right now. The Clean Your Room.
Clean Your Room. Yeah.
Yeah. Because she's really good at sounding annoyed. And so I was like, oh, I can cast this song perfectly. And so I just had her kick and scream about it and do her thing. And she's in theater as well, so she absolutely and she's a huge Flula fan independently, and so for her to get to do that, she's thinks is very, very cool. But she would never tell her friends.
Do you know what Audrey said to me this morning? We were getting ready for school, appropriately enough, and she's just making her breakfast. She goes, "You know what's weird, Dad?" I said, "What?" She goes, "When you realize your stupid, annoying father is actually kind of famous."
Thanks.
And I was like, first of all, thank you.
Yeah.
Second of all, what?
That's great to know, because I heard that famous people's kids, they're just like, nope, that's dad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess the fact still is there that
Yes.
you're a household name, but
Yes.
not. I didn't think that it would ever be considered by the kids.
And I'm not like actually famous. We have fans of my other bands, but it's not like, using the word famous is a gross overstatement in my personal case.
It's the level. What would you be then if it's not famous? If famous is just like
infamous
ceiling,
infamous.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
tied to some pretty great stuff.
Yeah,
yeah, reviled, loathed,
yeah,
abhorred, avoided, shunned, eschewed. The usuals.
Yeah.
I think I when I was talking to Eric, I was like, this is like that S tier. This is that S tier interview. So I think you're up there.
Well, thank you.
You guys are up there.
I try to hang out with Brian as much as I can, just to be around autographs and stuff.
Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah.
But I just like signing him, whether there's anyone there or not.
Yeah,
it's just fun. It's just
he'll
fun.
sign anything.
I'm really good at him too.
Yeah, he can write really well.
I can imitate anyone's name.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So when you guys aren't recording music or doing your day jobs, what do you do? What's your hobby? What do you like to do for fun? Shoot the shit.
I do a lot of it's kind of a side gig, but it's also a hobby. I'm a puzzle person. Like not jigsaw puzzles, but like crossword, word puzzles, abstract puzzle kind of stuff. So I have a second life as like what as they call it in the community, a puzzler.
One thing Brian may not tell you is that he is a PhD in theoretical physics. I don't know if you guys knew that.
So I how did I know that, Eric? I think
probably due to my incredible level of fame.
Yes. Yeah. No, you know what? I was reading your autobiography and
self-published. I might
Theoretical physics. So is that what does that mean?
Nobody knows.
Yeah, it's actually a secret. I was an academic for many years. I was a professor at Queen Mary University of London in their Center for Research in String Theory. But theoretical physics, so physics is, trying to describe the universe, various aspects of it. And a theoretical physicist tries to come up with mathematical models that work to either explain existing experiments or predict new results. So essentially, it's someone who models the universe with math. And the difference is between a theoretical physicist and an experimental physicist. An experimental physicist is in a lab. Maybe it's a very big lab, like a particle collider or something like that. But you're in a lab and you're doing actual experiments. A theorist is doing math, essentially. So, yeah.
I think I heard somebody say something like there was a professor probably for theoretical physics, and they said, and the reason I asked you what it was, I've heard of this before, but one of the students said, well, they were trying to gauge like how are we gonna how does this class work? And the professor said, well, we're kind of making it up as we go along. Like I won't know if you're right either. Like there's a level of
that. Yeah, that's not typical for a theoret. I mean, that would be at a very advanced level. Like that's someone doing research. When you do research, you start out as a scientist, you start out with a idea, but sometimes you follow your nose and you do your calculations or your experiments and it doesn't work out that way. In a class, that would be unusual. Like in a class, you're learning something that's probably pretty well established. Yeah. I mean, when I was teaching, I taught at the university level, like that stuff has been known for, I mean, it's like an undergraduate curriculum, at least 50 years, probably more. At a graduate level, you're talking about kind of up to the minute results. But yeah, it would be weird to like go into a class and be like, I don't know. Let's see what happens. Good luck, everybody.
Just wing it, kids.
Yeah. I mean, that would be more, that kind of thing would be more like maybe an arts class where you're like, okay, you're going to write something, like who knows what's going to happen. So
good to know that it's still grounded by facts, I guess.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's the interesting part as a theoretical physicist, right? Is you are grounded in like mathematical logic. If you're trying to do something new, and the kind of work I was doing was very mathematical, it's like, okay, you have a standard of mathematical rigor you have to adhere to, and you check very carefully, but also it's corresponding hopefully to some kind of physical system. So you do, as opposed to a pure mathematician is being like hyper rigorous. It's like really, really locked down. As a physicist, you have a little more wiggle room. So you can say things like, okay, well, I'm going to not do that because that doesn't seem real. It's a little bit looser, but you have some kind of standard of, mathematical rigor you're trying to adhere to.
So this is probably you're the chalkboard guy. You're filling up the chalkboard.
That's right.
That's bigger than your house.
Yep,
the size
that's
of the
right.
house.
Oh, I wish I could afford a chalkboard that big. Hey, Rachel, guess what?
Do you feel like that, being super smart like that has an impact when you write music? Like, do you look at music differently than like?
Well, hey, look, no one said he was any good at this stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I'm sorry. Yeah, let me backpedal that statement.
Super smart.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's right. Just because I had a job doesn't mean I was good at it. And I also want to say, I really do think of physics. Any kind of specialty. It's not that you're smart; it's that you're good at a thing. Right? So yes, I worked with a lot of very smart people, but it's kind of like learning another language. And some people have very good intuition for it. Some people don't. It's like, I don't like to say, okay, you're good at theoretical physics, so you're really smart. They're kind of two different things. But what I would think is I do, and Jim and I have been working together for a long time now. We're coming up on 10 years. Mm-hmm. I tend to approach music fairly analytically, like from a music theory perspective. Often my training is in jazz and that sort of thing, so I tend to think as like a jazz musician does about music theory. I think my predilection for math and science-y type stuff extends to my interest and study and training, etc., in music theory. And for me, actually, the big trick has always been to learn when to sweep the theory aside entirely and just be like, okay, let's just feel this we're writing a song. Doesn't really matter what the music theory says. Let's just feel it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I come in and feel him.
Yeah. So when does that happen?
Yeah.
That's at the house after.
Never on camera, right? Never behind closed doors.
That's my rule.
Yeah.
Never
on camera.
Never on camera.
I don't want to cheapen
this.
That's
a good rule. Yeah. Or start charging for it,
Well, yeah. Now it's a good deal.
There's a place for that.
If there's a market.
Place for that. Yeah. Oh, there's a market, trust me.
Jim, what about you, man?
What were we talking? Oh, hobbies. Yeah.
Yes.
Honestly, one of my big hobbies is also music, and that's so lame, but that's what I do when I'm not doing music. But outside of that, I would say my biggest non-musically kind of related hobby is I've been a Krav Maga practitioner for many, many years. And I was instructing when I lived in Los Angeles, and I had just found out late in life that I loved contact. And it just became a huge part of my life. So I do a lot of that. And I'm training in jiu-jitsu now, which I don't like as much because I'm older now. My joints hurt now more when I train. So, but I'm still doing both. And I just love it. Like, I started it when we were pregnant with our first kid, like 14 years ago, about, yeah. And I was kind of afraid of it because I never really I was like a music guy and I just didn't like people touching me. And, but I've always been like a big guy. And I went at the behest of some friends. Well, you should try this. It's really great. It's a good workout. And I was kind of looking to learn something and drop some weight and all that. Anyway, within the first week of training, I was just like, there was some genetic switch that went off in my head, like some ancient Nordic gene that we're a very Dutch family. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, there's something there. Like, I was good at this, but I didn't know it. And so that's all I did until I moved, basically. I moved to Nashville 4 years ago. And I just recently started again, but it's the first time I got hit in the face was just like fucking I loved it.
And I told him, I was like, I can make that happen for you anytime you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. We can do that.
Yeah.
Also a market for that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's right.
Totally. So
Same website.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that's
I don't know. My face probably said it. You said Krav Maga. The word sounds familiar, and through context clues, I can tell it's some type of martial arts.
yes. Sorry, I should back up. So,
No,
yeah,
it's okay. I'm probably the only person that doesn't know.
Yeah, it's a martial art developed by the military in Israel a long time ago. That was basically meant to teach the military, but also civilians, how to defend themselves in real life situations. So there's really no katas, there's no forms. It's like, here's how you break a collarbone, and like here's how you put a knee backwards, and here's how you can control a knife attack, and it's based on street fighting, and it's generally
There's a video game about that you guys might have played.
Yeah. Yeah.
About street fighting?
Yeah.
Is it The Sims?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
My code name's Ryu. But yeah, so it's basically designed to just handle things quickly and get out.
Are these the videos where like there'll be two guys standing there and one guy has a gun and they'll say, "And watch me disarm him"? Is that like okay? And then he goes some quick.
Yeah, a lot of those are poorly done.
Yes.
And will get you killed. But
a video on the internet is wrong, Jim?
Yeah.
Hold on. I need to make
that's
a call.
allowed.
Yeah, no, but yeah, we do a lot of like close quarter firearm disarms and stuff. And shockingly, it's actually, if you could learn it in a day. I mean, you wouldn't be very good at it, but it's not hard. And when I was teaching, when I was teaching intro classes, we would once we got to the basics of knife and arm retention, knife and arm and gun retention. I would ask, like, what would you rather have presented to you in a bad situation, a knife or a gun? Everyone would be like, oh, a knife for sure, a knife. And what people don't realize is that a gun is, once it's controlled and directed, it's harmless. It's just a piece of, it's a big piece of metal. So, but a knife is live all the time. And you learn that really quick through training with like electric knives and stuff. They won't slice you, but they'll let you know you've been hit. And it's really, really, it's bad. So learning a lot of that stuff is a part of it. And also knowing when to not try to do that is probably the most important thing you learn. And knowing, okay, I can go for this right now and not hurt myself or the people around me. So a lot of that stuff. If you watch like Bourne Identity, all those fight scenes it's all Krav Maga.
Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting. Yeah. Cool.
And actually, Flula's in the show The Rookie right now. And he did this scene last week, and my kids were watching it, and it was all, I think they trot him some Krav, and I texted him, I'm like, dude, good form. I was like, well, looking solid.
It's funny that you say that. So that's what I was going to say. My wife and I, that's just the show we've been watching, and the ABC shows are all, 20 plus episodes long. So, but Krav Maga is a big part of Nathan Fillion, his wife in the show. Like, that's what she does. Like, she's like a trainer on the side. So that's the only reason why I've heard that before. But yeah, they talk about that a lot in the show.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mind went to Napoleon Dynamite. What was the Rex's?
Oh, Rex Kwon Do. Yeah.
Roundhouse.
I know that's different. That's not the same thing, but you said poorly made videos, and I was like, like Napoleon Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, what's really cool about this, last I'll say about the discipline, is that it's generally, if you find a good school, they're going to work you really hard. And the premise that any good instructor that I worked with, and I've worked with a lot of them as a student, was they want you to be able to fight nonstop for 8 minutes, which is an eternity. And mainly just from a physical standpoint.
Tell that to my wife.
Yeah. But a bang. And so what you learn through this process is that they're also intent on conditioning you to be able to deal with an attack of 4 people and hang in there for, even if it's 40 seconds, if you're ready for 8, you're going to be just fine. And so the tests are like 8 hours, and brutally long and awful. I mean, my last test was about 8 hours, and they'll make you think it's over and go, oh, throw these rucks on. We're going to go run up the staircase at the parking garage. And then someone will come attack you while you're running with a rucksack, and you have to drop and fight. And it's just like, you never know what's going to happen. And you're just like, I remember the one night, I think it was my second test, we were leaving. I was like a orange belt. And the guy was like, our instructor, Chris, was like, hey, if you sleep with people, if you're married, make sure you sleep in a different room tonight. And it was my first belt test, because you've spent 8 hours hitting and kicking and striking and striking. It's so ingrained that he's like, you will slug your partner. And so I was like, this guy's crazy. And we were pregnant with our daughter. And I literally punched her in the stomach in my sleep. And it was real. And she woke up and she's like, and I went, oh my God. And I'm sleeping in the other room. So it was like, that's how long and ingrained these sessions can get. But it
sounds
wonderful.
Incredibly practical.
It is.
I like that practicality. I did probably like every other kid my age, karate when I was like,
same.
Oh yeah,
7 years old, and I think I won. And I held this in my head as like I did the crab walk really well, like you get backwards, and I don't know if that's. I don't think
you. I was gonna guess that about you.
Yeah,
I look like a fantastic
you look like a crab walker.
I was like, that guy can go flat and backwards. Incredible.
That's what they used to call me in high school, was the crab walker.
Yeah, the pincher,
Yeah.
but for a different reason.
The pincher.
Of course, naturally.
Yeah.
Oh God.
But anyway, but yeah.
It's fun. I always admire when people have like real hobbies or interests. Like, don't ask me. You know what my answer is? Video games, I guess. That's
true for me too. I spend a lot of time off time playing video games, sometimes with my daughter, but usually, just by myself at 10 o'clock at night after she goes to bed or something like that.
That's my escape, my stress reliever, my my daily, hey, if I get this in, I feel like I had a good day at the end of it.
Yeah.
But also I think like for Eric and I, like that's when we game together every night, like we get ideas for like, how can we grow our podcast and like what can we do to be better? So we're also kind of doing this while we're gaming, but it's just also that time to just disconnect.
What are you guys playing? Like what's the game you're playing or games you're playing together?
Right now, mostly just Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be our go-to. Oh, I wish we play Minecraft again. We used to play Minecraft together.
We played a lot of Minecraft.
Yeah, this motherfucker.
I
invite him into
fun.
I invite him into my Minecraft world that I'd been building, and he comes in and he goes, I'm at the top of like a mountain, and I built my nice house, my nice wooden house. And he comes in and he goes, oh, that's cool. Hey, what happened to your house up there? And I see, and there's just a bucket of lava dropped right on the top. And his wife
don't use wood.
What a ass.
Yeah, he showed me. His wife was like, Greg, don't do that to his house.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, I was saying that was a legitimate fight that my wife and I got in, was because I burnt down fucking Eric's house in Minecraft.
Yeah. It wasn't a fight that we had, right?
Yeah.
All right, so if you ever play this goes out to the world, anybody that plays video games with Greg will ruin the efficiency of a game. If you're trying to like do really well at a game, don't play with Greg. He will ruin it for a funny joke or a good time, and it is hilarious.
That I like. For a while, my friends and I were playing Stardew Valley.
Okay.
Most nights we'd hop on and just have our little community farm and go, farm stuff for a while. It's great. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so when we're not playing Call of Duty, I've just been playing a lot of Elden Ring, like nonstop.
Oh, dude, I love Elden Ring.
It's so good.
I love Elden Ring. I'm stuck at the last boss on the DLC.
Okay.
I'm stuck on the last boss of the original game, and I deleted.
Oh no, that was for me. That was trivial.
He hasn't beat the Elden Beast yet. So what is that, Radon 2.0 or whatever?
Yeah, that's right. It's Radon.
Yep. I'm just gonna go fuck myself.
I don't know if I'm gonna beat him because he's really hard.
You know what you need? You need something that is laced with scarlet rot and a shield, and just poke him to death.
Okay, well, I'm using the Blasphemous Blade as my primary weapon, which I like a lot.
Yes, the old BB.
I feel like a D&D game's going to break out here any second.
Pretty much.
Right.
I did bring my polyhedral dice, but of course I bring them everywhere. I'm always prepared. It's kind of like Krav Maga.
It's pretty much the same.
Yeah, I mean, what if you're walking through a parking lot and someone's like, campaign, you got to do it,
It's like the coin challenge that they do in the military to prove, you have.
I don't know what's the coin challenge.
So I guess and take it with a grain of salt. So evidently, if you serve, right, you get coins for doing missions or years of service, and someone can challenge your authenticity. Hey, coin challenge, and you have to present your coin to show that
your coins everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Is this to combat stolen valor?
Yeah, to combat stolen valor. So you like throw out your coins. Yeah. Really? I saw it on a TV show, so you know what happens in real life.
Yeah. I do famously, actually, I should have said one of my hobbies is stealing valor. I love doing it. You put some valor in front of me, I'm going to take it.
It will
mine. Sorry. Yoink is what I say when I take the valor.
I enjoy watching the videos of people getting busted for stolen, getting caught for it. Yes. But God, I don't know why anybody would want to do that. Like, what's the drive there?
And it's a huge no-no, right? Like,
yes, so
yeah.
Well, okay, so Eric has been fucking our algorithm up on our Instagram because there's a lot of stolen valor videos.
Sorry,
like questionable, questionable stuff on there. So that is you.
Yeah, that's me for sure. Sorry, anything that I don't want popping up on my own algorithm.
Yeah, stolen valor and Elden Ring.
Yeah, Daddies the Podcast algorithm is fucked up.
Oh my god.
Okay, so when this episode airs, Hot Cocoa will have been out now for a couple weeks, but the new album is releasing when? June 13th?
Correct.
Okay. And what is the name of that album?
Jim?
Slippery When Peeled.
I knew what it was. I just wanted to hear it.
What's the inspiration there?
Bananas are slippery. That was kind of where it came from. No, obviously a bit of an homage to Bon Jovi. We've had kind of a theme in the past with like Dark Side of the Banana. And we just kind of decided to keep it rolling and tried to make a cover that looked like Slippery When Wet, and it just looked awful. So
it had that certain something that we never want to have.
Right.
Yeah.
Bad Photoshop.
And this was, again, I will credit my family. We were at dinner, I don't know, a month ago or whatever. And I was like, okay, guys, we have this album's done. We're having trouble thinking of a name. Let's just, pitch me ideas. And my family, it was, I think Rachel, my wife, said something about slippery or my I can't remember. But anyway, they came up with Slippery When Peeled. I mean, most of the suggestions were hot garbage, so let's not talk about those. But that was a really good one. And then I texted Jim and Flula, and we had a bunch of ideas, and that one being the best one.
That was definitely the best one. So,
what were some of the other ones? Do you remember? You had some really good.
We had a pretty funny text chain going between the three of us that got a bit out of hand. So I don't know if I'd want to repeat it, but
there was one. There was a runner up that we were deciding. Maybe I can find this now.
Oh, Songs in the Key of Banana was one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
the one that I always, for years now, have been suggesting, which I don't think is a good idea, but I like as a concept, is Fun Sugar Snacks Magic, which I think really has something.
I forgot about that one.
Right?
I love that.
Right? But it also would, I think, my fear about that is, would people get it? I think people probably would get it. But also, then kids will be like, wait, what's the original? And then that might lead to a conversation that...
And what band is this guy also in?
Yes,
that
right.
conversation.
That's also that, yes.
I was so curious about how your other band, with Ninja Sex Party, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anybody that hates that, like that there's the association?
Lots of people. Oh, really? That's not what you meant. That there's an association. Now,
he's making children's music, but he's in a band with the word sex.
It's never been an issue.
It's never been. I think in this day and age, this is the kind of thing I've thought about this for a while. Like 30 years ago, it would be the kind of thing that would be an absolute career ender. This is there's no way, you can't have that. You just can't do the same thing. And now people get it. They're all how many.
Sex is a natural part of life.
Yeah. And I'm very good at it. I think people understand you can have different projects that are for different audiences, and it has never come up. Now, I will say I don't go out of my way to promote them on a lot of the. I'll post about it. NSP has a big following, and I'll post about it on there a teeny tiny bit, but I definitely don't want to mix them in too much because that feels weird. But no, it's never been an issue. And, we have people, Jim and I have done, songs on live shows where I'm doing other stuff, not an NSP show, but I'll do like a solo show and he'll come up and we'll, do some songs together in addition to other music. I think people get it and nobody really cares.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
It's funny. Like I was on the NSP subreddit and someone was like, there's a new Go Banana Go album coming out, but this sounds like it's for kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Someone was like super pissed off that.
Hello.
Sounds like Reddit.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. You got to love it.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah. Like one of the nice things about NSP is it's got a big following. And so Danny, my partner in NSP, and I can use that to help promote, our individual projects. Like Danny and Jim have a band called Shadow Academy. Jim and I have Go Banana. We have other stuff, like we have solo stuff, et cetera, et cetera. It's nice to have that outlet to use to promote our stuff. Yeah. But
Brian and I have been toying with the idea of a new project together.
It's
basically Go Banana Go, but with the wheels way off.
Way off.
Okay.
Not for kids.
kids.
Not safe for kids.
Yes.
We have all these ideas and they're funny, but we're like, where would that go? And then we go, maybe it's time for a lane. So.
Yeah. Well, the idea behind the band is, what if the guys in Ween did a lot of drugs?
What would that sound like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, so I think the only way that I could ever, what was the word that I used? Wacky, zany, like for like this new album. I don't think that I could think of those things without drugs. Like,
yeah, right.
Not that I'm accusing you guys of using massive amounts of drugs while writing this album, but
I'm using them right now.
Yeah. We're pretty chill. Like, we'll have a drink, but like, I don't even smoke weed. I am not a drug guy. Like, at all. I just have no interest. Jim isn't either.
No.
Like, I don't think Flula is. We're pretty. We're not straight edge, but we're not going nuts.
You're not like off
chill.
the rails rock stars.
The guy
I remember.
Exactly.
I remember hearing, this is one of my favorite quotes, years ago. Heard an interview with Jack Black. And he said, he was talking about, okay, well, after our show, I'll go have the hot tea and we'll read a book or whatever. And he said, in order to get on stage and just rock your balls off, you need to live like a 65-year-old woman at all other times. And it to make it a sustainable thing that is actually true. People who are going nuts and partying, and that might work when you're in your 20s for a little bit, but certainly when, I just turned 50, like when you're our age, not that I was ever doing that anyway, but you just can't sustain that. There's just no way to do that and be able to bring it from a writing. I mean, not just for performing on stage, but for writing and, all the other stuff you have to do to make it a career. You keep it pretty chill.
Yeah, you got to do a lot more to stay at maximum.
Yeah. No, we Flula doesn't even drink. I mean, he's so I don't even think we did drink at all on that trip, did we, Brian? I think
I wasn't drinking. No, I was taking like a longer break from drinking. And
no, that was sober insanity here on this album.
I think you maybe had a glass of wine that entire week or something.
Every hour on the hour. Yeah, I think that's
right.
The whole bottle.
No, it's very chill. Like, we're going to bed, like we said, going to bed at reasonable times. Like,
you have to.
We're not going crazy.
If you're gonna write and record an album in 5 days, you have to take care of your body.
Yeah. And Jim has the hardest job of all of us because he is also the producer for Go Banana Go, as well as a million other things, including Ninja Sex Party. And so his level of Flula and I can kind of fuck off and like do whatever. And sorry, can we swear on this?
You sure can.
Okay,
too late.
Sure fucking can.
Yeah. So we can like space out for a minute if we need to, or go answer an email. There'd definitely be times when my attention would wander or something like that. But Jim's got to be like focused and running the show all the time. So he has the hardest job of anybody on these sessions.
I'd have never known anything different, really. So it's draining for sure. But I don't know what it would be like to like skip out for an hour and so I've been doing it for so long and I love it so much that it doesn't even faze me.
Yeah. But it's amazing. The amount of focus you need to bring is just crazy to me because I can focus on stuff, but like you're in a recording studio. So not only is he focused on, in this case, writing, well, and with NSP, he and Danny and I write together there too. But like usually with NSP, we're not writing in the studio. Like we write the thing and then we go to the studio and then we record it. With this, we're kind of writing and Jim is producing and engineering and everything else at the same time. It's like a crazy amount of balls in the air at any given time.
Yeah. But it's great. Again, I wouldn't change it for the world. So
you guys both sound very busy. I admire that. I'm not as busy as you, and I can genuinely only do how many things at a time, Greg? I got one thing. I could do one thing at a time. If right now my dog was just in here, if he started like barking, I would be so thrown off. Oh, he's got to do something. It would it entirely ruins me.
I'll even like when I mix an episode, like I'll get a new plug-in and I'll send it over to Eric and I'll say, hey, can you like hear the difference? And he's like, I think it sounded fine the way before.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like, well, okay.
Greg's our audiophile. Yeah. He appreciates the differences in, this is pitched down. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Well, something when we started, and we've been doing this for a little over a year now, was we didn't want to just dump out shit content. Like we didn't want anyone
where you
to
and I differ, my friend.
Well, here's the thing: we didn't want to,
and it was, and it ended up being shit anyway. It was overproduced and whatever. But like, it was that was something that I refused to do, and I used to like. It would take me like 40 hours to just edit, 2 hours worth of shit because I'd sit there and I chop it all up. God, and
we were doing some things that were wrong. Mm-hmm. There was audio drift and nightmare stuff for Greg.
On my own podcast, my partner Leighton on that, we didn't actually do this, although I thought it was a funny idea of hers. She, heard somewhere that when you do a podcast, you don't get good until 100 episodes in. Right. So she was like, what if we did a 99th episode spectacular where we did all of our worst ideas? And so that way, when we tell people, okay, start at episode 100, it's right after the worst episode we'll ever do.
That's great.
That was
a really funny idea. We didn't do it for, whatever reason, because all of our ideas are good. But I thought that was a very funny idea. But yeah, with like it's like being a stand-up or whatever. You have to find your voice, you have to find your technique, you have to find your sound to some extent. Mm-hmm. It's a whole thing.
You guys can be honored to know you're in our first shitty 100 episodes.
Hell yeah.
This is episode 70.
This is episode 70. Yeah, we just shot 69.
Coming hot off the heels of 69.
Yeah, right. Oh, which was our best episode.
I know.
Mm-hmm. Man, opportunity missed.
Yeah, we didn't even reference it. Damn it.
It's hard to reference that when we're talking to other people. I think we were talking to the pop-ups or somebody, and just to be like, hey, this is episode 69, guys. I just didn't have the
We met the pop-ups at the Hootenanny, Brian. Remember them? They're really nice guys.
They were really nice.
We played a show, and it's actually a funny story we should tell. We played a show in New York, Brian and I, for Go Banana Go, called the Hootenanny, which is like
2 years ago.
Yeah. It's like a kind of a festival for family music that our PR woman, good friend Stephanie Mayers puts on with this guy Bill Childs, who does kids
also
radio.
Great.
They're amazing people,
wonderful folks.
And they put this little festival on in New York, and they asked us to play, and we were like, great, yeah, we can go up there, we'll bring banana costumes, it'll be funny. And there's no kids at this event, so
it's all for adults. It's people who do kids music, but it's all for each other.
Yeah, and industry people, I don't know. And so Brian and I go, and I don't know the best way to explain it, but we kind of got there and we're just like, oh man, we are not like any of this. And how are we going to present ourselves? Because we're a little snarky and like, and so we looked at each,
very hot, like scaldingly hot.
There was a bar there too. So we'd had a couple drinks, and I looked at Brian and I'm like, we need to go nuclear today. I was like, we need to make this really uncomfortable, because that's the only way.
That's all I needed to hear.
Yeah. And that's like both of our specialty. So we ditched the banana costumes because I'm like, that's going to make us look saccharine. And I'm like, I want to go up there and have people like, I want this room to go silent. And so we got on stage. My guitar didn't really work because there was like this tech problem.
It's the kind of thing, there's a billion acts and you have like, 10 minutes, if that, between acts. You just have to get up there and start going. It's barely even like a line check because the stuff's already plugged in. Yeah.
Yeah, so we get up there and we're just playing it real, like, because everybody up there's like, they're really great musicians, and there's really positive and just, very emphatic.
Kid music.
Singing about kid stuff. We get up there and we just like are really quiet. My guitar doesn't work, and I'm just like, does anybody in the crowd have a Xanax? Because, and then you could see these women in the front row just like looking at us. And then Brian goes up to his mic, and I don't remember exactly, it says something like, listen, I want everyone in here to listen up to me right now. He's like pointing to the crowd. He's like, no eye contact, no laughing, no, and just starts berating these people. So
I love, but my favorite thing is to lose an audience right away.
It's
always
it's
a
the best
goal.
feeling on earth to lose people.
And then it's all uphill from there.
But
you're already at the bottom.
But what I remember is Stephanie, who knows us very well, who put this on, was crying, laughing in the back. And so were the pop-up guys, who were lovely. And after the show, they were like,
yes, okay, now I know.
They kind of got what we were going for.
Yeah.
They're like, that was the funniest shit we've ever seen. And so, but we covered McGruff the Crime Dog. Remember those songs from the 80s? We covered Crack and Cocaine, the song which basically explains how to do crack and cocaine. And
but it's an anti-drug song, which definitely talks about how awesome drugs are. If you're like,
it's really great, but don't do it.
But it's not worth it.
This
but
is exactly how to not do
that.
These drugs.
That McGruff the Crime Dog album it's called Smart Kids, and it's awesome. And there's a song on there, I believe it's the Alcohol one, which it's basically a Steely Dan song. And this wasn't available on Spotify for a while. As of the last, 6 months ago or something ago, it is out now. Someone kind of basically re-released it. And it is fantastic. I can highly recommend it. And it's like pretty dope backing tracks, which are thoroughly ruined by a guy doing the McGruff voice. Doing crack and cocaine.
Get high.
That's what you say
you love.
It's and the synth sounds. There are some songs on this that have like the most perfect 80s synths. Oh, it's great. And it's very funny to hear a guy doing the McGruff voice.
So we played that song, Crack and Cocaine, to close the show out. And that's when I think we really lost people. Because if there were kids there, we wouldn't have done that.
No, of course
I don't
not.
think so.
Sure.
But I threw some F-bombs into the lyrics when I was singing, and like people were just like, what is
That's what
happening?
It's the F-bomb to Jim.
Yeah. What is happening? Well, so we had a great time, and then we walked off stage to tepid response. But then
that 1%,
slow clap.
We were on cloud nine.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and Steph and Bill loved it, which is all we cared about.
Quite the display at a children's, that group of people.
I was mildly drunk as well.
For yourself, of course. Right.
Yeah.
You can't cater to the hoi polloi, right?
Well, and it was so. The reason I wanted to have the pop-ups on, so my daughter, when she was born, she had hip dysplasia, and she had to like wear this harness for like 6 months. So she had a really hard time going to sleep. And one of their songs, Box Crayons, like that was the only fucking song that would put her to sleep every night. Like we would just listen to that song. So I reached out to them and I was like, hey, like, here's who we are. I want to talk to you guys. But I didn't know what to expect, because whenever we have like a children's act on, like I don't know like where our limits need to be. And with them, it was kind of like you guys, whatever, let's talk about fucking anything. But we didn't know what to expect with them. But they were really nice, and
they're great.
And that's how we actually, I think, ended up getting linked up with you guys.
Cool.
Was from that episode. Cool. So it all came full circle. Yeah.
What's that thing? 7 degrees to Kevin Bacon. Yeah. Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah, right.
Just getting to know everybody. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It started as 7 degrees to Brian Wecht, and then Kevin Bacon took
now
over.
He's just kind of there.
And that's why, to this day, I still have it out for Kevin Bacon. So, Kevin, if you're listening, I'm coming for you, buddy. You're fucked. You're fucked right now. And if I see you on the streets of Los Angeles, I will Krav Maga you.
Flash dance all over your ass. Was he Flash dance, or was that somebody?
Footloose.
Oh, dang it!
Yeah.
Flash dance was Jennifer Beals.
That's who I'm after. If she's listening,
Yeah, that's Jim's personal feud.
Such a bitch.
We got into it. Was it Butch Vig?
It was Butch Vig.
And it ended up seeming like we were doing a bit on Butch Vig, even though we weren't.
We kind of did. It was not intentional, but yeah, I don't know why we were talking shit.
So now we're on his shit list.
So. Maybe. Well, didn't you try to tag him? But
I did tag him, but then he took it down.
You're not successful unless somebody out there, lots of somebody's, hate you, right? Mm-hmm. And by if that's true, then I got to say, I'm the most successful guy in the world.
I love that.
All right, so Go Banana Go, Slippery When Peeled, out June 13th. How can people, where can they stream the album, download it, purchase?
Unfortunately, it's not available. So there's no
one can get it.
Mail order only.
Yeah, that's right. No, everywhere.
It's commercial at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, it's only on 8-track, and you have to come to my house to get it. And I'm not telling you my address. It's everywhere you get music. Spotify, Apple Music. We'll put it on our Bandcamp. Literally everywhere. There's no physical. There's no vinyl or CD or whatever. So it's just streaming. You can go to our YouTube channel. Look for Go Banana Go. We're going to have 2 videos for this one. We have a lyric video for Hot Cocoa, which is out. Then we have a video for our song, Cutest Things in the World, as well.
That Flula is the center of, in that video. So that's very funny and weird.
Yep.
Yeah. So
awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys.
It's really
fun to catch up. Yeah.